Let's go ahead and talk about AEW Dynamite August 20th, 2025. This is the go-home show for Forbidden Door. So, yeah, they are live in Glasgow, Scotland tonight. And, yeah, we get to the first segment of the night where we see Bryan Danielson. He actually comes out there and he's doing commentary to replace Taz for tonight. And then we actually kick off with the first segment where we see Will Ospreay. He comes out there and, you know, he's talking to the fans and everything. And he was talking about how he's scared and everything going into Forbidden Door. And there is a reason behind that. And he says that, you know, to be honest, he's not actually medically cleared for Forbidden Door at all. But he says that he wanted to wrestle, 13 minutes away from his home and all that stuff in the UK and London and all that to wrestle in front of his fans and family. So, yeah, that's what Will Ospreay was talking about there. And he says that, that he asked for this steel cage lights out match because it will be unsanctioned and all that, and that won't be in AEW's hands. If something does happen to him, that will be in his own hands. So, yeah, that's what Will Ospreay was saying there, telling everyone that message right there about being injured still and not medically cleared to compete and all that stuff. And he was talking about that, any issues that happens is on him. But yeah, then after that, he gets interrupted by Jon Moxley. He comes out there with Marina Shafir, and Jon Moxley gets into the ring. But then all of a sudden, we see Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta popping up on the ring apron, and then Will Ospreay tells him that, he's going to be dealing with Jon Moxley, how he's going to be taking a pound of his flesh this Sunday at Forbidden Door and all that, and he says that, that if Jon Moxley wants to get rid of him, then how about he does it himself instead of getting his goons to get him. So yeah, that's what Will Ospreay was telling Jon Moxley, and then all of a sudden Mox tells Claudio to get in the ring and all that, and then all of a sudden we see Kevin Knight and Speedball Mike Bailey coming down there, brawling with the Death Riders and everything. Will Ospreay quickly got out of the ring, and then we see Hiroshi Tanahashi coming down there because up next will be the first match of the night. It'll be a 6-man tag team match. The Death Riders versus Tanahashi, Speedball, and Kevin Knight up next in a 6-man tag team match. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Till then. So, the next thing that happened on AEW Dynamite, we get to the first match of the night. It was Jon Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, and Wheeler Yuta with Marina Shafir at ringside. The Death Riders versus Kevin Knight and Speedball Mike Bailey, and they was teaming up with Hiroshi Tanahashi tonight in a 6-man tag team match. We get to this tag team match. This match was a pretty good one. During this match, we see Marina Shafir interfering in this match, and then the referee seen it and kicked her out from ringside. So yeah, she got kicked out from ringside, but she was walking up the ramp complaining and all that. And then we see Will Ospreay behind her. He picks her up and then takes her backstage, kidnapping her. So yeah, that's what happened there. But then, this match is going back and forth and everything. And then at the ending, we actually see Hiroshi Tanahashi and Speedball and Kevin Knight taking down the Death Riders. And then Hiroshi was up there on the top turnbuckle. But then he was about to hit the frog splash up until we see Gabe Kidd and the rest of Bullet Club War Dogs. They come down there, distracting ref and everything. And, Hiroshi Tanahashi's up there on the top turnbuckle. But then we see Will Ospreay coming out there with Marina Shafir in a body bag. So, yeah, he lays down the body bag. It distracts the Death Riders and everything. And while everyone was distracted, we see Hiroshi Tanahashi jumping off the top turnbuckle with the frog splash on the Wheeler Yuta, pinning him for the 1, 2, 3. So, yeah, Hiroshi Tanahashi, Speedball Mike Bailey, and Kevin Knight defeated the Death Riders tonight in a 6-man tag team match. And then after the match ended, we see Matt and Nick Jackson, the Young Bucks, coming out there, hitting a double super kick onto Will Ospreay, taking him out. And then we see the conglomeration coming down there, brawling with the Young Bucks at one point, taking them away and everything. And then we start seeing everyone coming down there, where we see the Ops and Darby Allin coming down there, brawling with the Death Riders and Bullet Club War Dogs, and everyone's going at it. They're in the crowd brawling and everything. And then we see Darby Allin jumping off this platform with a coffin drop onto everybody else, laying them all out. So yeah, that's what happened there with Will Ospreay, Darby Allin, the Ops, Hiroshi Tanahashi, Speedball, and Kevin Knight standing tall inside the ring, where we see the Death Riders and Bullet Club War Dogs laid out in the crowd. So yeah, that's what happened there. Pretty good stuff. But yeah, for the match, what happened after the match, I'll give it all 3 stars. That's why I'll give it was pretty good. But yeah, that's what happened there. But yeah, a lot more stuff to come later on tonight on Dynamite. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Till then. So the next thing to happen on AEW Dynamite, we get to the next segment of the night where we see Tony Schiavone. He comes into the ring and he introduces Cope and Christian Cage. They come down there to the ring because, they are teaming up this Sunday at Forbidden Door and everything. And then, Cope was talking about how, that Christian's been an asshole and everything. And he says that, that he hopes that he's a changed man. And then Christian pretty much says that he's not a changed man at all. And then the fan starts chanting and tells them all to shut up while he's conducting business. And then Cope says that, he's an asshole, but he's my asshole. So yeah, that's what he says. And Christian Cage is like how he's perfect. He was saying he was perfect and he's not changing for no one. So yeah, that's what Christian Cage says. But then Christian says that the only reason him and Cope is teaming up is because Cope is going to help him out, take care of Nick Wayne and Kip Sabian, and that, he is going to help out Cope to take on FTR. So yeah, that's what he's saying there. But he says that, this version of Christian is going to be the best damn tag team partner that Cope ever had. So yeah, that's what Christian was telling Cope. But then all of a sudden they get interrupted by Kip Sabian and Nick Wayne's mom, Shayna Wayne. She comes out there and yeah, they started talking, and Kip Sabian was talking about how they're going to take care of Cope and Christian Cage this Sunday at Forbidden Door. And then Nick Wayne's mom was talking as well, but she says that Nick Wayne's not there. But then Nick Wayne pops up on the big screen, and Nick Wayne was talking about how his foot is broken now because of Christian Cage hitting his foot with Spike and everything. So he says that, that now he got costed the opportunity to not be appearing at Forbidden Door, but he says that he knows someone that's going to be taking his spot. And then all of a sudden, Nick Wayne goes away off the big screen, and then we see someone laid out in the hospital with pumps and everything, and it's pumping them to life. And then all of a sudden we see them sit up, and it was Kill Switch. Luchasaurus has now returned. He comes out there, and then Kip Sabian gets knocked over the top rope by Christian, and then we see Luchasaurus hitting a chokeslam onto Cope, laying him out, and then Christian Cage gets face-to-face with Kill Switch after he took out Kip Sabian, and the Kill Switch is going to walk away up until he turns around, grabbing Christian from the throat, and chokeslams him as well, laying him out. So yeah, Kill Switch has now made his return tonight, and he'll be in a tag team match at Forbidden Door, taking Nick Wayne's spot. So yeah, that's what's going to be happening there. But yeah, then after that, we see Mark Briscoe walking around backstage, and he says that he's going to find MJF and kill him. So yeah, that's what he tells MJF looking for him. So yeah, that's what happened there. But yeah, I'll see you guys later until the next thing happens on AEW Dynamite. See you guys later. Till then. So, the next thing to happen on AEW Dynamite, we get to the next match of the night. But before we talk about that match, we got to talk about a backstage segment. So, yeah, we see Ricochet talking with the Gates of Agony and everything. And Ricochet was talking about a lot of stuff. And then MJF comes up, and MJF was talking about how he wants Ricochet's help to deal with Mark Briscoe. And Ricochet actually agrees with him. He says that he'll help him out. But then after that, we get to the next match of the night. It was Bandido and Bandido versus Dax Hardwood and Cash Wheeler with Stokely Hathaway at ringside FTR in a tag team match in the finals of the World Tag Team Title Tournament. So yeah, winner of this match will be facing the Hurt Syndicate for the World Tag Team Championships at Forbidden Door. So yeah, that's what this match is all about. And yeah, we get to this match. In this match, it was a really good match. At one point, Stokely Hathaway cheated by hitting Brody King upside the head with a lead pipe, which busted him open. The referee didn't see it. And yeah, this match, it was just back and forth and everything. Both of these teams beating the hell out of each other, taking each other out. We see a bunch of near falls in this one. At one point, we see FTR hitting the spike power driver onto Brody King, laying him out on the ring apron. And then at one point, they hit the Shatter Machine onto Bandido, and they pinned him. 1, 2, Brody King barely breaks at the pin at the count of 2. Both teams just kept on going at it back and forth and everything, countering each other's moves and everything. But then at the ending of this match, we see FTR getting frustrated while they was counting down because they was coming close to a tie, a time limit draw right here in this one. And yeah, the time was coming down a lot more, and FTR was getting frustrated. They set up a table outside the ring up against the barricade. We see Brody King try to take out Dax Hardwood, and then we see Cash Wheeler try to hit like a suicide dive onto Bandido, but then Bandido got pushed out of the way by Brody King. And then we see Cash Wheeler going through the table hitting a suicide dive, taking himself out. So yeah, that's what happened there. And then the bell ring, which ended in a draw. So yeah, the match has ended in a draw. And then we see Bandido try to take out Dax Hardwood with the German suplex onto him inside the ring. He goes for the pin, but obviously the referee ain't counting, so Bandido didn't hear the bell ring. And yeah, the match ended in a draw. So yeah, now it is official at Forbidden Door that the Hurt Syndicate will be defending the World Tag Team Championships up against Bandido and FTR in a triple threat tag team match. So yeah, that match is now made official. And then after the match ended, we see the AEW World Tag Team Champions, Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin, the Hurt Syndicate. They come out there, and yeah, they're staring down the tag teams. But yeah, that match is this Sunday at Forbidden Door now. So yeah, that's what happened there. It was a really good tag team match, though. For that match, I'll give it 4.5 stars as well. I'll give it was a great tag team match between FTR and Bandido. It was really good stuff. But then after that, they showed a nice video package of Swerve Strickland and Kazuchika Okada's feud and everything, because they'll be facing off against each other at Forbidden Door. But yeah, up next we're going to be hearing from the AEW World Heavyweight Champion, Hangman Adam Page, up next on AEW Dynamite. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Till then. So, the next thing to happen on AEW Dynamite, we get to the next segment of the night where we see the AEW World Heavyweight Champion, Hangman Adam Page. He comes out there to the ring and he starts calling out MJF because he wants to get his hands on MJF before Forbidden Door. So, yeah, that's what he's doing there. But then all of a sudden, he gets interrupted by Tony Schiavone. And Tony Schiavone tells Adam Page that MJF got a message for him. And he says that he probably won't listen to this or something bad is going to happen. He says that, MJF says that he got a camera and he's going to be talking to Adam Page soon. And that, he better not get out the ring until he's done. So, yeah, that's what MJF was telling Tony Schiavone to tell Adam Page. And then MJF pops up on the big screen and we see him, Ricochet in the Gates of Agony, got Mark Briscoe laid out. He's tied down to a chair and all that. MJF tells Adam Page a couple of things. He puts gasoline all over Mark Briscoe, about to catch him on fire, and then he says that he has 3 rules. Number 1, at Forbidden Door, if he gets disqualified, he wins the world title. If Adam Page gets counted out, MJF wins the world title. And number 3 is that, that he's not going to be cashing in his contract and that he gets the world title match anyway. So, yeah, that's what MJF tells Adam Page. And he says that he has to count until the count of 5 to make that decision. He starts counting down and then Adam Page finally accepts. So, yeah, the match is now made official where MJF does not need to cash in his contract. And if Adam Page gets disqualified or counted out, MJF becomes the world champion. And then MJF was like, good boy. And then, he stops and he's not going to catch Martin Briscoe on fire. And then Adam Page quickly got out of the ring and he starts running up the ramp to run backstage. So, yeah, that's what's happening there. But, yeah, pretty good segment there to set up the match at Forbidden Door. But, yeah, I'll see you guys later until the next thing that happens on AEW Dynamite. See you guys later. Till then. So, the next thing to happen on AEW Dynamite, we get to the main event. But before we talk about the main event, we see the AEW World Heavyweight Champion, Hangman Adam Page, looking for MJF and everyone. And then he sees a bunch of security guards and he starts beating them down. So, yeah, that's what happened there. But then after that, we get to the main event. It was the AEW Women's World Champion, Timeless, Toni Storm and Alex Windsor versus the TBS champion Mercedes Moné and the Ring of Honor Women's World Champion Athena, with Billy Starks at ringside in a tag team match in the main event of tonight's episode of AEW Dynamite. So, yeah, we get to this match. In this match, it was a pretty good tag team match. It was going back and forth and everything between these two teams. We see Toni Storm holding on to her neck a lot of times in this match. At one point, she actually got hit with a power driver on the steel steps by Athena. And then Alex Windsor was trying to do everything that she could do to try to beat down Mercedes, but she didn't know that Athena was tagged in. And then at one point at the ending, we see Athena jumping off the top turnbuckle with the O-face onto Alex Windsor, pinning her for the 1, 2, 3. So yeah, Athena and Mercedes Moné defeated Timeless Tony Storm and Alex Windsor in a tag team match in the main event of tonight's AEW Dynamite. That's what happened there. It was a pretty good tag team match. For that match, I'll give it 3 stars. That's what I'll give it. But yeah, for match of the night, I gotta say it was probably the FTR versus Bandido match, because that match was really good. It ended in a time limit draw, and yeah, like, it was still a really good match. So I would say that was match of the night. But yeah, for tonight's AEW Dynamite, the go-home show, I'll give it 9 stars. That's what I'll give it. It was a pretty good go-home show. But yeah, I'll be talking about Forbidden Door this Sunday. Look out for that. And yeah, I'll be talking about a lot of other stuff. But yeah, that has been my AEW Dynamite August 20th, 2025 reviews. Like, subscribe to TNW Wrestling on YouTube, subscribe to my other channel, Word of Chris, and subscribe to this channel, Chris McDaniels, and follow me on all my social media accounts. I'll be down there in the description box, and I'll see you guys later for this Friday Night SmackDown reviews. See you guys later. Till then.